Hi, internet people. So because I was out of town last Friday, this is actually a double Killjoys recap, but I'm going to keep my recap of episode 3 pretty quick. So let's start with that one. There is a planet where Highr'd get trained to be regular people with creepy 1950s style holograms and books. On this random planet, if you go outside, the sun melts your eyes and you become blind. So, Dutch, Dav, Johnny, and Zeph, Johnny meets Zeph and he does not like her because she's the new nerd and they have this thing. Zeph also abandons them because she's like trying to do a thing and poof, gone. So Johnny, Dav, and Dutch are stuck on this random planet where there's a crazy religious cult that doesn't have eyes. It's weird and creepy and awkward. But there's one guy who can see, who is apparently Highr'd, but now things are being weird, so he's unHighr'ding, so he's been cured. But he's like still in charge and he wants to know what's going on with Klein, and Dutch informs him Klein is dead and he's like, no, he said he was coming back, it's been 30 years. And I'm like, oh, well, that sucks for you. They're looking for this like remnant, this like thing that Klein left behind after he shut down the facility 30 years ago. Davin is talking to this girl, I forget what her name is, but she has her eyes sewn shut because that's what they do to the babies on this planet, so they don't see anything until the Undying come back, the Highr'd. She says that Davin's been there 3 days ago, and he said he was coming to get that, and that she could come with him when he left, and he literally doesn't remember it. That's why he got on the ship and flew away, and then came back, and no one knew what was going on. So they're like trying to figure out what's going on. They get the piece, they get off the planet because Zeph appears again, and then Johnny like reads her the riot act for leaving them and not knowing how to get them back and like all this stuff, like you can't just run off and do science things, like this is the real life, not a lab. Bam. I feel like that's recappy enough. Yeah, did I miss anything? I probably missed a ton of stuff, but that's what we got for episode 3. But then they have the remnant thing that they have to figure out how to open, which is what they're working on in episode 4 a little bit. That's Zeph's new job. She has to get the thing open. So she, actually, Johnny has been moved to level 5 and he gets hit 5 times, and so there's like the ceremony thing and drinks are being had and it's at the bar and Pree is there, and Pree has a sort of boyfriend, Gary, the guy he stabbed last season, because stabbing leads to feelings, I guess, which totally makes sense, and I was super excited because I was like, oh, Pree has a boyfriend, and then actual boyfriend is like, oh, I don't know what we really are, because Davin's talking to him and he's like, Pree has a lot of like bottled up things that we don't talk about, and I don't know what we are, but he's less violent, which is nice, except he helps Davin torture a guy who has come to kill Johnny for, actually not kill Johnny, capture Johnny for killing Dulcea, who we know is not dead because she's with frickin' Anila, in the Highr'd Armada, which is a thing that happened in episode 3. She actually appeared before, and for some stupid reason I didn't realize it was Dulcea. I don't know if it's because her hair was down or what was wrong with me, but I am dumb. I didn't realize it was Dulcea, but now I know. And like, Anila is like weirdly getting close to her because they bonded over like her wanting to help her take down she who must not be named, aka Dutch, because apparently they're not allowed to say Dutch in the Highr'd Armada. So Johnny is being like attacked by dudes, and Davin is like fighting them off, and then Dutch and Johnny and Pree sneak out through that secret passageway behind the bar, and his buddy, well, his boyfriend kind of locks up after them, and then he helps Davin like interrogate the guy, and they learn that it's a kidnap, or it's a capture, not kill, black warrant. And Turin goes and talks to Banyan, the new head of the rack, and she's like, no, I'm not overriding it, like, what, this is a thing, like, he shouldn't have gone, because she was interrogating Johnny before about why he left, and then all of that. So on Lucy, Pree says that he can get them help, and they need to go to the Farron on Orin, and Johnny's like, hold up, you know where the Farron are? Because only the Farron are allowed to know where the Farron are, and like, Pree's like, oh, well, I used to run the Farron because I was a kick-ass warlord, which we knew, but we hadn't actually seen him in action. Oh my holy freaking god, they land on Orin, and Pree 1 looks amazing in his warlord attire. Tom Allison is fabulous all the time. I love him so much in this show. He is amazing, so good in this episode. I was so happy that we got more Pree-focused stuff this episode because, okay, they land and he's like, alright, he like grew his hair out, it's white, it's gorgeous, he's wearing this amazing purple, pink, blue, it's mostly purple and like magenta, and it's amazing, it's this really awesome outfit. And he's like, no, we like set off the flares, they're already here. The Farron show up, the Farron are super pissed at him because apparently his name used to be Varric and he was in charge of them and he left, and his Lachlan was his boyfriend, his like really intense boyfriend, and they like kiss and then shoot each other, and it was amazing, and I may have yelled at my television set because like, boyfriend, more boyfriends, all Pree has dudes, excitement. But then it turns out like he left, and that you're not allowed to leave the Farron under like penalty of death kind of, because you like violated the rules of the Farron, and so there's going to be this like battle, because Lachlan wants Pree's life for Johnny and Dutch's protection, or he'll help Dutch with the Hullen problem. So yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So Dutch and Johnny wind up fighting because they get chosen as the champions because Pree picks Dutch, which is a great plan because I would also pick Dutch as my champion. And then Johnny is picked as the Farron champion because really Lachlan's just being a jerk. So they like have a combat-y one, like a combat round and a shooting round that's really interesting, and they're like tied, and they have to do this like fear round where they wind up like revealing a bunch of truths about each other to each other, and how like Dutch hadn't wanted Johnny to be a level 5, and like she's been blocking it because she didn't want him to get kill warrants, and like she didn't want him to come back, but she didn't actually want him to come back because she wanted him to be safe, and like Johnny is pissed at her for like not wanting him around, and it gets really intense, but then this gas goes off, and then the dude who was after him at the freaking bar gasses everybody and then takes them, and he's gonna cryo-freeze Johnny and send him away to wherever the frack and a half he's supposed to be going. Turns out the warrant is Dulcea's warrant because Davin and Zeph have been trying to get into the green goo because they figured out that Dulcea is a frickin' Hullen, and he like gets into the goo and figures out she's with Anila, and then Anila figures out that Davin can see what's going on. But we learn that Dulcea wanted Johnny brought to the Hullen Armada, which is a stupid frickin' plan. Like, actually, not dumb. I take that back. If Dulcea is trying to work against Anila, catching Johnny would immediately bring Dutch there and set off the war inside the Armada, which I feel like was her plan. So it's not dumb. It's actually really smart, but probably would have gotten Dulcea killed in like a matter of seconds. So she's either not thinking about herself and thinking about the J, the J, which is great, or she's just really angry at Johnny, and I can't tell which of those it is. But Dulcea can see, or not Dulcea, Anila can see Davin, and she pops him out of the memory that he's getting through the green, because he is like secretly Kleining still, like he controls the fleet. That's the thing we learned in the episode before this, like Klein did some stuff with Davin, so Davin is like in charge of stuff. Yeah, so that's happening. Pree is super pissed because Dutch and Johnny are both gone, and he and Lachlan have this like huge talk out thing where like he reveals that he actually left because Lachlan should have been running the fair and not him, because he was about like Lachlan was almost getting himself killed trying to protect Pree, and Pree didn't want him to do that because Lachlan was obviously like should be ahead of the people. So that's why he left, because he was like, Fair had to die so a new commander could take over, so I left, which means he's dead. You got it, okay. Then apparently they had a ton of sex, because that's how Lachlan was convinced to help Dutch and Johnny, which is fine. They're both adults. They can do what they please. I like thinking that Pree is able to do whatever he wants and totally gets all the dudes because Pree is amazing. So Dutch escapes using Nerf gas implants that she has, which are really cool. But Johnny is still frozen because the cryo freeze started. Lachlan says that he will assist them with the Hullen, and Pree is going to get to leave with them, like he's not going to be captured. Dutch, though, does threaten Lachlan with a gun and almost becomes head of the Farron, which would have been intense, because she would be awesome, I'm just saying. Then they go back to Lucy, and she and Pree chat a little bit, and, I don't know what's gonna happen with Pree and his new guy. I really hope that they work out together. I feel like I'm staring in random directions today. But like, I'm hoping that gets better because the guy with, like, Garrett, I keep saying his name wrong, really likes Pree, and it's very cute. And then Johnny unfreezes, and he's fine, and then Zeph manages to open up the remnant thingy by using a mixture of Hullen goo and Klein blood? I'm not 100% sure what that was. I think it was Klein blood or Klein plasma or DNA or something, and it like pops open and there's a thing inside, and I don't know what it was, but it was a thing. And she closes it again. So I don't know what was happening in there. And then Davin talks to Dutch and Johnny about Anila and is pretty sure she's crazy, because I'm pretty sure she is. Oh yeah, she's not okay in the head. And there is that. So Dutch is prepared to go and like find all the Holland and like do the thing. They're like actually taking back their rack. Like she has a whole plan for the next episode. But literally, I just really, really like this episode because Pree got so much screen time, and I freaking love Pree, and I've wanted Pree to have a boyfriend since like the first time we met him, and I'm so excited. Like, it was so good, and I love the backstory, and I loved his outfits, and I just love Tom Allison because Tom Allison does such a good job. He's so good, and I love him in this show. I also really like Kelly McCormick. McCormick? I feel like I'm saying her name wrong. She's Zeph. I really like her character because she and Johnny do not get along, even though I feel like they should, but she and Devin are weirdly getting along, which is interesting. So I don't know, I just really like her. I like the addition of her to the team. So there we go. I really, really enjoyed episode 4. I also liked episode 3, but I was so behind and I was so psyched about episode 4 because of Pree that I like watched it, but like it was one of those things where I was like, the dialogue is great because this is obviously great because the dialogue is always great in Killjoys, and I'm like, this is cool, but I need to get to episode 4, so let's keep going. So yeah, but I'm super, super excited. I'm excited to see what else happens this season. I feel like Killjoy seasons go by so fast, which is crazy. So let me know what you thought of episodes 4. And if you also really, really enjoyed all this Pree time we got, because I loved it a lot, leave me your comments below, or you can find me on Twitter at Kleffnotes. I frequently don't get to live tweet Killjoys, which sucks. I just, every time it's on, I'm somehow like not home, or I can't watch it, or the recording time got moved. It's every time Killjoys is on, I can never watch it live. I don't know how this happens. But there we go. You can find me on my blog, kleffnotes.wordpress.com, or if the Nerdy Girl Express, the nerdyGirlExpress.com, and on their Snapchat, the Nerdy Girl EXP. Bye, Internet people.